Hey, everyone. Tamika here. We are live at 11. And today's topic might be a little bit controversial. Okay. But it is a lesson that I've learned multiple times. And I guess I'm going to keep learning it. And I mean, it's just taught me a lot about myself and a lot about others. And so as you hop on, make sure to say hello. Amanda, it is 11 o'clock my time and you're awake on Instagram. Crazy. Just kidding. Happy that you're tuning in. But yeah, tell me where you're watching from. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tamika and I teach motivated women how to win in life with simple tools that create consistency and confidence, all while being a present mom. So today I'm throwing out the N word, narcissist. Okay. I had no idea even what this meant a few years ago until I had an experience. And then I looked back on a few other experiences and I was like, oh, that's what they did to me, like not even realizing it. And so I don't know all things. All I can do is just speak from my experience, of course, and share with you some lessons that I've learned, and hopefully it'll help you too. How's that sound? Sound good? Okay. So first off, I did a little bit of research. Got it right over here in my handy dandy notebook. As far as like what exactly is a narcissist, okay? And one of the websites that I found said that there are two types. There is a grandiose one, which is somebody who feels superior to others. They might be a little bit more aggressive, dominant, exaggerate their own personal importance. They're very self-confident and they're just not sensitive to others. And then there is on the other side, a more vulnerable one. And these people protect themselves. So that way it helps them not feel those feelings of unworthiness or inadequacy. They're always offended. They're anxious when others don't treat them as if they're special. So they're just kind of more on the submissive side. And there are certain characteristics of narcissistic people. Now, I do have some of these characteristics as well. Okay. So I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. And just because somebody has these or doesn't have these doesn't make them a narcissist or not. But I just found it kind of interesting and kind of just kind of good to know. So sense of entitlement, manipulative behavior. So they may like be extremely kind to you at the very beginning, like they want to like please you and be your best friend, but then they're also willing to exploit you. So very manipulative behavior. The need for admiration, compliments, recognition, lack of empathy. So not feeling for others or taking other people's emotions into consideration. Arrogance. They can be very rude and verbally abusive. Shaming or blaming. So not taking responsibility, making other people feel bad or blaming them for certain situations. Living in a fantasy world. Fear of abandonment, fixation on appearance. So like having that obsessive compulsive, like have to look a certain way. If something's out of place, maybe can't function as much. And so those were just a few things that I read as far as like some characteristics. Now, I had an experience a few years ago with somebody in my last company. And I considered her to be my very, very good friend. And we had ups and downs. And, you know, there were times where she was very rude to me. And I just was like, okay, like go and do it your own way. And would just wish her the best, but let her go do her own thing. Then she'd come back. And there was never an apology. Now, when I think about it, there was never an apology, but there was always like back in my inbox, like nothing had ever happened. And it was so confusing to me because for those of you who know me, like words matter, actions matter. I'm a very direct person. I don't understand sarcasm at all. Even my 9-year-old, sometimes he's sarcastic and I have to ask him if he's being serious or not. My husband's like my filter. Like he has to tell me whether people are joking or being serious. And so I take everything very literally, which is a downfall that I have. So even if someone's like joking and having a good time, like if it hits a chord with me, then I'm like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? So I take everything like very internally. And so anyway, what is going on here? don't know what's going on Instagram. It's like spazzing out. There we go. So anyway, so when she'd get back in my inbox acting like nothing happened, then I was like, okay, I guess we're friends now. And then we would like be friends again. And then she would like say some hurtful things and I would like have to like reflect on it. And it was hard, but like I'm a forgiving person and I'm like, okay, like you must be going through something, like, I don't know. But anyway, I didn't even realize that this was like a trend, like, or destructive behavior from her or to me until somebody like pointed it out. And then it made me remember too, my first husband. He like, how do I even want to like share this? Dating was amazing. He made me feel like the most important person in the whole entire world. He did such thoughtful things for me. I dated him my senior year in high school, and then I went to college, and I thought that things would just like kind of fall by the wayside, whatever, because I went to college at the University of Wyoming, grew up in Utah, 6-hour drive. I just kind of thought like things would fizzle out. But when I came home for Christmas break, he actually proposed, and I was like, yes. And I quit school. I quit everything and moved back home. We got an apartment. We got married. And shortly after we got married, he got in a motorcycle accident. We took all of our money from our wedding because he really wanted a motorcycle. We bought him a motorcycle. A week later, he gets in a motorcycle accident, like totally freak accident, not his fault at all, but gets in an accident. And we had just barely got our own apartment and like started our real true life, adult life. And all of a sudden I was the only one working. And so I picked up 2 jobs. I would work in the morning at Subway. And then at night I would go to an indoor facility. I'd ref soccer games. I'd clean it. And so I was basically working sun up to sundown. And that's just what I had to do. And so when I would come home and there would be piles of garbage on the floor, there would be dirty laundry, and he was sitting there playing Nintendo all day long while I was working. And somehow he was able to make me feel like the bad guy, like I was the nagging wife, asking him to do laundry, asking him to pick up his garbage, asking him to cook a meal. And he totally flipped that on me. And I stopped asking for help. I was like, okay, like I'll make sure I do the laundry during this time. I will make sure that, you know, we have meals ready, and like I'll just figure it out. I'll put trash cans in more convenient locations so that he could throw away his trash. And he literally turned that on me and made me feel like the worst person ever. And I just didn't want to be the nagging wife. And so I just stopped nagging and made changes. And I even remember like there were times where he was like, how dare you think that you can get change in the bedroom when I'm in there? Like you need to go in the closet. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, of course I do. Like, how rude of me. And like, even like sleeping on the bed, he was like, you don't cross this line. Like you need to stay on your side. And, you know, it was a totally different person. And I mean, it easily could have been the medications and things that he was on. I mean, I think that kind of did some things to his brain, but totally different person than the person I met when we were dating. And I didn't even realize what kind of behavior that was. And what's the most crazy part is eventually he did go back to work and get a job, and it was my fault because I pushed him into it. But he just was like not loving himself, being at home. Like he felt worthless. He didn't feel like a good husband. So I was like, so why don't you go out and get a job where you can just like sit in a phone center and you can just answer phone calls. So he ended up getting a job. He ends up meeting a girl. He decides that he doesn't want to be with me. He wants to be with her. And when I look back, I'm so sad for that person that I was, because that person cried, that person begged for him to stay with her. That person didn't eat for a month. That person tried to commit suicide, all because of the behavior that he twisted and put on me. And like I said, I've had to learn this lesson multiple times, and I'm sure I'm still going to learn it again, because I just want to like expect the best from everybody. But it's just important to realize that other people's problems aren't your problems. And so I wish I would have understood this concept sooner, but I'm grateful that I understand it now. And there are 3 things that you can do to help protect yourself against this. So maybe you're dealing with it in your own life right now. Maybe you've dealt with it in the past, or maybe you're going to deal with it in the future. Okay. There are these people everywhere, and they're just like, these people don't make sense to me. Like, treat people with kindness and like want the best for others and cheer each other on. Like, why do we have to bring each other down or make people feel bad about themselves? Right. And yeah, Jenna said it. She's like, it sneaks in without even being noticed. And I think that it starts because they're just so good to you at the very beginning. Like, they want to please you. They want you to like them. And you want that. Like, as humans, we crave that connection and that need to be wanted. Right. And so anyway, and back to this leader that I worked with in my other company, if I didn't recognize her the way that she wanted to be recognized, I was the worst person ever. And when I would talk to, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, I thought I was doing a good job. And she would always tell me, Tamika, you're not a good friend, but I'll teach you how to be a good friend. So I just felt the need her so she could teach me how to be a good friend to people, because obviously I didn't know friendship. And when I would talk to other people on my team, then they were like, no, Tamika, you're a great leader. Like, you do give recognition to everybody. But like, I just couldn't see that. Like, I just could only see the bad things that I was doing, because that's what was shared with me with somebody who I felt I was close with. Right. And so anyway, how do you protect yourself against this? Number 1 is you need to know your own worth. Like, you need to know who you are. And so when people say these things about you, or make you feel a certain way, that you know that it's not true. And it's hard to know your own worth. Okay. Especially if it's somebody that you're very close to, like a spouse or a sibling, or a best friend, right? But knowing your worth is the most important thing. And then the second thing is setting your boundaries. I am not a kind of person to set boundaries, like when it comes to my time, when it comes to my knowledge. Like, if you ask, I will give you whatever I can give you. But I've learned that I have to set boundaries. And so sometimes that just means, like, maybe I'm not going to get back to you as quickly as I used to get back to you. Or maybe I'm going to say no sometimes. And it's hard to say no sometimes, right? But you have to, like, set your boundaries. And then the third thing is, if those boundaries keep getting crossed and you are forgetting your own self-worth, then you have to walk away. You have to wash your hands of the situation and say no more. And regardless of who it is, you have to walk away. That means blocking. It means unfriending. It means cutting off the relationship and maybe any ties that come along with it, because ultimately your happiness is worth it. And I just, like, wrote the quote at the very top of this video is, you teach people how to treat you by what you allow. Right. And that's so true. I mean, we learn that from a very young age, as far as, like, which parents we can get away with things from. Right. We learn who we can trust with our secrets. We learn who we can depend on for certain things. Right. And we teach people how to treat us based on what we allow. And I personally need to, and this is what I'm making this video for, it's like for myself. I'll go back and rewatch it. But I personally need to know my value and know my worth, and know that not everybody has to be for me, but ultimately, I need people that are surrounding me that are going to lift me up, and you do too. So I hope that this is helpful. Not one of my usual lives, but I feel like it was really important. And especially for me, thinking about, my first marriage and being in relationships. I know a lot of people, as I'm, like, scrolling my social media, I know a lot of people are having relationship struggles, and also just, like, with friendships and people that you work with or neighbors, that you don't deserve to be treated like poop. Okay. Nobody does. And so, and sometimes people don't even know that they're doing it. Like, it's just how they have become to protect themselves. And I don't think that you're going to change people, but I think that you can make sure that you change your circumstance, or change your boundaries, or change your time that you're giving people, and to know that it's okay. So if you guys want more of this, make sure that you click the follow button. And if you're not already subscribed to my weekly fit tip emails, make sure that you click the link in my bio and just drop in your email. And then you'll also get a little free resource that I have to help you start figuring out what are your passions and what do you want to do in life and how you can live a healthier, happier life. So if you subscribe to my emails, you'll get that freebie. And I hope that we can stay connected. All right, I'll see you guys. Bye.